Hello everyone, this is Makeda of the Boston Badoofs, and I am joined with my pal Hollowkid of the LA Lucarios for the power rankings for the Armor and Tundra division that we didn't get to in his power ranking video. Why don't you say hello?
I just realized that if this is the screen that you're recording, it shows like who won.
That doesn't matter though.
I'm Hollowkid.
Oh, yeah, some of the matches already happened. Yeah. We are recording this late because originally we weren't going to do the power rankings, so that's why you see the scores of some of the games there. But that really doesn't have any merit to the rankings of the teams themselves because we already made these rankings beforehand, we just didn't record them. So even though you could see those scores, that really doesn't mean anything.
And you think we're going to do extra work and re-rank them?
Exactly.
No.
And besides, like I said, these are rankings of the teams individually, not of the players. And obviously there could be teams that we view as poor that the coaches utilize perfectly. So, I mean, it's all up to the coaches themselves to make the team good in the first place. So, because you could draft all S plus tiers. You have like 12 S plus tiers. Not that that could happen in a draft league, but hypothetically, and you could still be a trash player. So I mean, it doesn't really matter what Pokemon you have if you don't use them right. You know what I mean? You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
I got a spam call in the middle of the video again.
Okay, I was like, you got quiet. So we're gonna start off by ranking each other because I don't think it's fair for us to put ourselves into the actual listing. So we're gonna start off with my team, the Boston Badoofs. What do you think about my team?
I've been playing against your team because obviously I'm the one that helps you practice. But on paper, I like it. It leaves you with the unpredictability with Mew, literally running like anything. Could be doing anything. You could be running a defensive set, offensive set. I think this team is gonna be pretty tricky to play around because, like I said, you have Mew for unpredictability. You have mixed set Landers. You could run mixed set Hydreigon. You can run mixed set Lucario. Vaporeon's always going to be like your special defense wall. Weezing's going to be your physical defense wall. It's like you have really good attacking like unpredictability. Like it's going to be hard for people to predict what you're going to do or what you want to do. So I do really like this team because I really do like Vaporeon. You know me, I love that Weezling. Like I love those two mons, especially together. Just being able to do their own walls and their own stuff is great. You already know the mascot's there with Lucario.
True.
I personally don't like Charizard, but you hated Moltres and
No. I didn't hate Moltres. Moltres disappointed me.
Moltres hated your ass.
He hated my ass, bro. I didn't take him to his optometrist appointment once, and he said, "Fuck you, I'm missing everything."
That mod did not like you. That mod's like, you don't have enough badges to use Hurricane properly. But I think you do have a very mixed set, which can be running. It can mess with your opponents.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I wouldn't put you top tier, but I would put you high middle. I would definitely put you middle. Just in cases, because your defensive mons are just basic, pretty much.
It's funny you say that, Danny, because I think you're the basic bitch in this league.
True. I don't get me wrong. I drafted my team. I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, I see the flaws like instantly.
Yeah. And what people have pointed out about my team that I also realize is that I don't have a defensive steel type, but at the point in the draft where I drafted Lucario, like, there weren't many options left that I really wanted to put on this team. So that's one thing I would change, is definitely pick up a better defensive steel type. Not necessarily replacing Lucario, but in hindsight, I think maybe even Cobalion would have been better, even though I chose Lucario over it, because I ended up drafting priority afterwards. So it's like I didn't really need him for the priority, you know?
Yeah. I think, again, like, they did say in their video, like, not having a defensive steel is kind of like, meh, Lucario is not the best steel type. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's like, at the same time,
that's not the reason why. I mean, I feel like having a steel type in itself is important. It doesn't have to be there for the resistances. I think it's just a good type, like one of the best types in the game overall, that you definitely want to have, especially with fairies there. So while it is neutral to fairy, it still outspeeds most of the ones that are threatening. So I mean it's still gonna do its job when I need it to. But yeah, I do wish I had a defensive steel though, just because of how defensive of a typing it is.
I do agree that you probably have like the 2 best F tiers. They also agreed with the SQ. Like that ice face is really good. Setting up, just be nasty.
Yeah.
Like I said, like the fact that you have a mix attacking mons, like that's scary.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was going for. Unpredictability this season.
Yeah. And hopefully you can turn it around.
Hopefully.
Because you already know Lucario's like a good mon. Yeah. It's just if you use them wrong once during a battle, it's like, all right, that's it. You only get one shot with Lucario.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm a good player that I don't know. I feel like I haven't been drafting well as I should be, you know? So maybe we'll see.
Panicking in the battles. I think me and you did a lot because this is I still consider this like your first like YouTube league.
Yeah.
Not YouTube. Sorry, Wi-Fi league. And me and you played very of like we'll click a move and then cancel while our opponent is still thinking on showdown.
I mean that's true, but
because
I don't necessarily think it's a problem.
Yeah. Like in this, I'm just clicking fucking buttons, and then I can't cancel. I can't cancel, so I can't overpredict. So I'm like, fuck it, send it. But like me doing that fucked me up against my finals opponent, my quarterfinals or semifinals against Patmac. It's like I should have clicked Sucker Punch. Instead, I clicked Dragon Darts. I'm like, oh, why did I do this?
Are you ready to move on to your team?
Yep.
All right.
Look at this heart garbage. Hot garbage.
So, they pointed out something that I don't really think is that big of a deal in the Misty Terrain anti-synergy with Dragonite. Because personally, Dragon is not as powerful of an offensive type as it used to be. Especially since you have Feeny there to deal with them, and you have Scizor to resist Dragon and stuff. So it's not really that much of a problem, because I think most of the Dragonite sets when I drafted Dragonite don't even use Dragon Stab. You focus on like Dual Wing Beat, Earthquake, Fire Punch, Iron Head, something like that.
Dragonite has a lot of versatility that you kind of want to rely on more about than Dragon Claw.
Exactly.
Like I was saying in my video recently, it's like Dragons got nerfed. Like they're not as viable. Draco Meter is probably the best one, but it's still unreliable.
Yeah, so I think overall your team's really solid. You have Feeny, Victini, and Scizor all work really well together. Umbreon is just an absolute monster of a wall.
Oh yeah.
Vileplume is extremely underrated, definitely. And Effect Spore is honestly such a clutch ability in the right situations. But I think you have a really solid team. I don't really see anything that's flawed, except your Lapras should have been an Arctovish, but we'll talk about that another time.
I wanted it. I so badly wanted it, but I did not want like so much attack. I wanted the health. I wanted my Vish back, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What else you got down here? You have Type Null. I think is really solid as well, and I don't think Machoke's very good, but at least it gives you that fighting type.
Yeah, that's all I was kind of going for. I'm kind of sad that it doesn't get Mach Punch, which is very weird to me, but
yeah,
like it can still, with Eviolite, I still live like a hit no matter what, and then I can just kind of do what I need to do.
You want Mach Punch, take Girder, bro. What are you doing?
True, I should have probably taken that over this.
But I think you're very offensively powerful. You have a lot of physical though, like Scizor, Victini, Dragonite. I mean, Victini could be mixed, but majority
Victini could be mixed. Dragonite could be mixed.
Yeah, same with Dragonite.
Scizor could definitely be mixed. Like
Helios could be mixed. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's not worth the U-turn. Just Volt Switch.
Lapras could be mixed though. So you have the same thing that I have. Is like a lot of your attackers can take special options or physical options in like a surprise matchup, you know. But you don't need to. And I think you have a lot of physical with special supporting mons that will make up for that, you know. So I think your team's real solid. I really do.
Yeah, I like my team, and obviously I like my defensive mons over my offensive mons. If I could take more hits than I can one-hit people, it's like I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get on to the actual ranking. The 12, I guess there's 10 because we don't count ourselves. The 10 people in this league that we ranked. We're starting with the lowest, and we're going up. And I will preface this again by saying, just because you're the lowest doesn't mean you have a terrible team. It is just the least good out of the ones that we have looked at, or that we can see on paper. So prove us wrong in the actual battles, please. That's the best part. And so we're going to get on to it. And the team we rated last is... Oops, that's not the right shortcut. Team Tempest. Hosted by Kiwi.
We did?
Yeah, at least I put it here.
I can see its flaws here and there. Like, almost instantly. It's kind of weird. I think, honestly, if you picked up a good fire immunity, like, I know you have Volcanion, but if you picked up like a flash fire user, I think that would have been pretty nice.
And I think something that he suffers from is he has a fighting weakness. I mean, he has things that mitigate that, but he doesn't. I mean, nothing's gonna take a fighting hit extremely well, except no. I mean, not even Galvantula, because I mean Galvantula is literally made of glass, and Claydol is probably not going to come most of the time. I drafted it once, I just couldn't find a use for it ever. So I think Claydol is a little overrated for an E tier. So
I always get confused that it's ground psychic over like dark psychic or dark ground so much.
Those are still weird. It should be a ghost, I think. But Kyurem's really strong, Rillaboom's really strong, and with Rillaboom, you're really mitigating. Good. Yeah, you're mitigating the ground weaknesses of Drapion and Volcanion. And another thing I think this team does well is you're not necessarily fast, but you have Galvantula there to mitigate that with Sticky Web. So as long as you're not going against another team with powerful flying types or levitators, then Galvantula is going to be really helpful, as well as dealing with a lot of those physical walls you might struggle with because of Rillaboom and like your hard hitter. I mean, Kyurem's special, but I don't know. I think he's not the shine of this team.
What I'm looking at here is I'm very confused on the two big grass users, like the Rillaboom and the Ferrothorn. But the Volcanion pick, it's like, what exactly are you afraid of taking a water hit? Like,
yeah, also another thing that this is problematic is because while Volcanion is neutral to grass, because of Rillaboom, grass hits are going to hit a lot harder from your opponent. So you kind of have that problem in that you're making your Volcanion weaker to grass than it normally would be.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird. And also, like, you have an offensive flying type, which I'm not 100% agreeing with.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but, like...
But yeah, we like our defensive flyers.
I guess you do have Hitmontop for your spinner over a Defogger, so... Hitmontop is a... Assault Vest is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitmontop's a monster.
It's just like the clear flaws.
Yeah.
You can see like instantly.
But I do think that your top four are really powerful, and I think if you could use them properly together, then you're gonna have a really easy, clean sweep. Because Kyurem is a threat. Rillaboom's a threat.
Yeah.
Ferrothorn is an absolute unit, and Volcanion, I haven't really seen Volcanion utilized like really well, but I think that it definitely has potential, and it has like a stronger Scald. So I mean, could you really go wrong?
Who? Volcanion? I don't like Volcanion. It died to a horse.
Fair. But yeah, like I said, like I haven't seen it utilized well, but I think there's definitely potential for it to do well.
Yeah, like play your cards correctly, and obviously like using your low tier mons more will help you out. Obviously, you don't really have to worry about default because you have Rapid Spinner. You have the way of mitigating control of with sticky webs.
There's also Emoga for defog, by the way.
Fucking Emoga, okay? We don't talk about F tiers in this house. Bitch me can fucking use my voice again. It's fine. I'll come on his channel for free.
All right. Next up, so the rank 9 team was the Greasy Goodras. Now I don't.
This is just 9 because it's greasy.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think this is a bad team. Like you got some like really big threats here. You got Darmanitan, Hawlucha, Salamence, Incineroar. I love Incineroar. And Indeedee's there to help you trigger your Hawlucha combo. But your only water type's Rotom Wash. I learned last season that you kind of want another thing other than Rotom for your water attacks, because the only two
AKA
water types you
Hydro
have,
Pump
yeah, you have
misses too much.
you have two water attacks on this team, at least as far as I can tell, and they're both Hydro Pump on Salamence and Rotom Wash. So that's going to be problematic because it's going to miss. If you're going against a team that's weak to water, it's going to be a problem. Although, I mean, you could probably work around it, but it's just something to note. That's going to be a problematic thing. Also, you have two offensive flying types, which means electric is going to do a lot to your team. You have Magneton, which I think is really great to cover a lot of your weaknesses, because it deals with the steel weakness and the electric weakness. Yeah, and it gets Eviolite's really bulky. But I don't think Magneton is flexible enough to just throw in on every team, and it doesn't get that much coverage, unfortunately. So, I mean, it's really solid. Definitely fill your gaps well, but as your only steel type, I think that maybe you needed another one. I don't really see what Celebi does for you. It just adds another ice weakness to this team. But like I said, you mitigate that.
Revile's going to actually hurt your team a lot. This is a very interesting team.
Yeah.
Again, like, honestly, okay, so doing the ranking this time around was actually a lot harder than it was the first time around.
Yeah.
Because your guys' teams actually do look a lot cleaner.
And they actually drafted flying types.
Yes, we can't easily bitch about something. Like, Amanda Buzz was picked up this time. It's fucking awkward.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the only problem you're going to be having here is that majority of your defensive mons also want to be running attack.
Yeah, Kyurem's going to hurt.
Yeah, Kyurem's going to run a train on this thing, which kind of sucks.
I mean, it is what it is. No team is perfect, that's the thing. And because it's a draft league, like, you're only going to be playing that Kyurem once, maybe twice. I believe... I think it's in the same thing as Team Tempest. So yeah, they'll play Team Tempest once, so. And then they might not have to worry about it until the finals if they make it there. So it's that's the one thing that's, like, pointing out all these weaknesses is kind of not necessarily that accurate because of that. You're not always going to see those mons multiple times. Yeah,
so, and, like, the Hawlucha, I do kind of like the fact that you're not pairing up with a Coco, you're not doing the easy set, you're not trying to do it with Lele. Like, they
got Indeedee, but...
You got Indeedee, but we already know Indeedee pretty strong. But it's like, you can obviously run Ryder, but you don't have to run it. Like, you didn't leave yourself open to, like, I'm running Electric Seed every single week kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I just see a big fighting weakness, big electric weakness.
If I'm wrong,
big fire weakness.
I believe you don't have rocks other than Sandslash, right? So you're like your low tier? Why is low bunny so... Maybe. Yeah, if you scroll down some more on the page itself.
I didn't want to.
Just stuff
it does.
On Celebi.
Celebi gets Stealth Rocks? No, that I didn't know. But
yeah, that I didn't know either.
Clefairy gets it, yeah. So,
granted, I have the same problem. That's like my number one big thing. Is like my only rocker is Zendikar.
Alright, so I take it back. Celebi does have a use on this team. It is your stealth rocker, your higher tier stealth rocker. But I don't know. You just got so much ice weakness and fire weakness that maybe something else would have been a better option for Celebi's spot, like an actual ground type or something to help mitigate that. I mean, ground doesn't help you with ice, but the fire still doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Incineroar is a really good mon, especially for being just a B tier. Like, I can see it doing some work and helping negate a lot of the damage for Salamence and Hawlucha to come in and just do cleanup sweeps.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's all you really have to worry about. But I want to see people use Darmanitan because Dracovish had its, like, shine already of being the Vicious Wren and being banned from OU. Darmanitan needs to overtake some leagues and show that it's a monster.
Well, let me tell you something right now. It didn't happen this week. But we're gonna see it soon, I'm sure.
Spoilers!
Well, we haven't seen the battles yet, but
yeah,
it wasn't brought, so
just
that's
because
interesting.
the results have been shown here. Like, please watch these people's battles. Like, it's better to find out how they win anyway.
If I remember correctly, this was the 0-0 match.
I believe so too. This is like one of the matches I want to watch.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. So our 8th place team was the Dundee Darmanitans, hosted by Rory. And I think the reason for this is that he has a lot of offensive like his top picks are all very offensive, but frail. But he kind of mitigates that with the Zapdos, Melodic, Registeel, all very bulky Pokemon. But I don't know, I just don't really see the synergy between the top 3. Like, he's got a Psychic weakness for the first 2.
So, my number one question is, why do you have Hail? Nothing kind of pairs up with it.
I mean, I think...
like, it doesn't boost Mamoswine at all, so it's like, I don't see the point of it.
I think Ninetales is just a solid offensive fairy, because Ice is a good offensive fairy type as well. But I think it kind of mitigates that fact that I said he has a frail team, because he gets that Aurora Veil. So he kind of fixes his problem a little bit, but I don't think Aurora Veil is enough of a reason to draft Ninetales on a team like this. I don't know. I like the Melodic, Registeel, Zapdos defensive options.
Oh, I do too. I love...
those are great.
You already know I like my Moltres, so Zapdos is up there.
Yeah.
Articuno, we don't talk about those. So it's like, I actually wanted to draft Melodic too. If I didn't pick up Feeny, I was going to pick up Melodic.
Yeah.
So that's good. Registeel, versatility, like utility wise, very good. I like that. I've used Como. I wouldn't consider it S tier though. Like, you being your only S tier, like hard hitter, like it's a really good mon, but it lacks in a lot of spaces still.
Huh. Now, I will say this. I will say that I remembered why we rated this so low, and it's because his only ghost resist is that Lanoon. And
oh yeah, well, you have bulletproof on Como.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna like spoil everyone's day. If you use Shadow Ball on it, it's not going to work.
Yes, but let's just use this as an example of something people draft all the time that's gonna be a threat to all of his top mons, except maybe Mamoswine, and that's Dragapult. Because Dragapult doesn't click Shadow Ball, it clicks Dragon Darts, and Komo's gone. Kills Gengar with the Shadow Ball, or even the Dragon Darts. But Mamoswine gets the Ice Shard.
It'd be kind of cool if Dragon Darts kind of as like didn't work because of bulletproof. It is kind of like bullets. Like, come on.
I mean, maybe. I don't think it is. I don't think that it works that way though.
No, I don't think so.
Because they ain't bullets, they darts, bro.
Yeah.
Can't even read.
Funny,
yeah. So the Mamoswine's nice because it fills in that that kind of counter.
I can say Como could actually be in hell with Overcoat too.
Yeah. True. But then you're forced to use the worst ability of the 3, in my opinion.
No chip though.
Yeah. But I like the other 2 abilities better. Especially versus a Sylveon or something like that soundproof.
I like Gengar and all, but I think if you swap that for more defensive mon, so then you could just whittle the team down for Mamoswine and Como to come in and do clear sweeps, I think you would be fine. Or even like the Como just being fully defensive.
I mean, I think a fast offensive type is fine. It's just I don't see its synergy with the team,
well, not all
specifically being Gengar, you know?
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like all 3. Like, if you can whittle the team down for Gengar and Mamoswine to just Ice Shard or being the speed demons that they are, to just come in and clean sweeps, like, you're good.
Yeah, we don't sleep on Gengar though. He's still a monster.
Yeah.
Next. All right. Next up is the 3 Electrons, coached by Sventhun, and this team, honestly, it's a really solid team. This is where we're starting to get to the teams. They're all really good at this point. He's got the Regenerator core. I mean, I like it, but I think it could be better, obviously. He's got 3 Regenerators, but I don't feel like the Regenerators are the ideal ones. Obviously, Tornadus is great, and Zero Aura is really good. Like, the fact that he got both of those is really good for him.
Having a Regenerator core team, it just seems like that's a staple of, like, if you're going to draft one Regenerator, draft another, so you can just constantly overheal and swap out back and forth. Now, they do kind of go great together though. So because like Slowking doesn't want to take an earthquake, and Tornadus is like, I don't care. So it's like that's a really nice combination.
Yeah.
Works well with Zero Aura too. It's like Primarina could take out the rest of the stuff.
Primarina is honestly great. I love Primarina.
I don't talk about Primarina.
But Mienshao, I drafted Mienshao. I like Mienshao, but it's definitely one of the weakest regenerator
it's kind of weird
pivots.
because like it's a really fast mon, so you want to just like kind of like use U-turn and get out immediately, or like kill something immediately and then just switch. So it being a regenerator is kind of weird because you can one-shot it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it removes the need for it to have boots though, as a pivot, because I mean, one, you don't really care for boots on Mienshao because it's a fighting type, resists the rocks anyway, but that chip damage does add up. So that's one thing cool about it, is that you don't need to worry about that as much. You could just put the boots on your Tornadus and not have to have a second thought. But I do think that it is underwhelming as a regenerator core. This team also had a glaring weakness that I don't remember. Fighting? No.
No.
His low tiers are weak to fighting.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either. But
I think it's ice actually.
Yeah, freeze drive is
Like
gonna hurt a lot.
like Kirim is going to hurt this team, and I don't
teams.
think he has to go up against Kirim. So yeah, but like I do know his first opponent has freeze dry Glaceon. That's gonna hurt.
Interesting. Well, don't give him any ideas like that.
They're supposed to battle today.
oh, they haven't battled yet?
Yeah. This
Got
is
it,
the
got it.
last
Alright.
week 1 to battle that we're trying to wait for.
Alright, so we'll wait till that battle's posted before we post this, just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think just having the core there is a good idea. Like, obviously no one complains about having a regenerator core, but it's not the most ideal one I've ever seen. Zero Aura, Tornadus are both very powerful. Primarina and Slowking, great threats. But the rest of the team kind of lacking, honestly. Lickitung is... Honestly, I love Lickitung, he's great, but... the problem with your bottom tiers is they share a lot of fighting weakness and stuff like that. I mean, that's not necessarily going to be a problem, but it does exist, so... Just something to take note of.
Share a lot of fighting weakness, and also it's like... Again, I think Ice is probably...
Yeah, Ice is big.
Bad guy.
Yeah.
This Primarina could take it, but like... Not by much. Like that, MS Swine is gonna do work. Luckily, I don't think you have to go up against it. I'm gonna do work. My Lapras. Gotcha.
The Ghost Resist, that's what it was. Another team that lacks a good Ghost Resist, you have Lickitung and Volibee, which I don't know how reliable they are. There's a lot of powerful Ghost Pokemon, and it's gonna hurt this team. Yeah, we don't talk about yours. You literally can't see yours.
That's the worst kind.
Just get your Sylph Scope. Let's go on to the next team, which is going to be Badass Frostlats.
Speaking of Ghost
the Indiana Tracers. And I think that this team is really solid. Maybe you could have put it a little bit higher in the ranking, but I do think that there's not much offensive synergy between his team. Although it is very powerful, don't get me wrong. I think Urshifu, obviously, standalone is one of the best Pokemon in draft. Corviknight, absolute bulky monster. And Nidoqueen, definitely underrated in comparison to Nidoking. I think it's just as powerful.
Yeah,
but Spectrier, like I said, those ghost types are going to be a threat to a lot of teams. So Spectrier is solid, a very powerful offensive mon. But I think overall, it's lacking because it doesn't get any coverage. Like, you can do Will-O-Wisp and Hex and all those defensive substitute sets as well, but I think its best bet is just to go Specs click Shadow Ball, because all these teams are missing that resist. But it's fast, so it's gonna do a lot of damage to a lot of people. But I still think it could have been something a little bit better for this team. At first glance, you know.
First glance is that you have 2 water types, but I personally don't like either or of them. So I think having a little bit better
You're just a hater.
water type. I am. I've also been using this freaking team for the past like couple days to help you practice. So it's like, at the
Shh,
same
shh,
time,
shh,
it's like,
shh.
nah,
No,
it's
no, no,
fine.
no, no,
They
no,
they
no,
already know about our love
no.
triangle.
All right, so I think Lantern's really solid. Basculin, not so much. But one thing I do really like about this team is that Urshifu's weaknesses are blocked by your walls. Corviknight and Nidoqueen both deal with the fairy type weakness, the flying type weakness as well for Corviknight. And, I mean, it's just, you got a scary top three. Like, if you don't
You
even
have a
look at the
very
spec
scary
here.
team. I believe you did a preseason grudge match, and you already showed people that you already know how to use this team. You're already comfortable with your top three, your top four, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You've already shown off a major thing about Spectre. It's like it's got one thing and one thing only. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you've already known and accepted it, so you drafted things that can take that.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the Corviknight and the Urshifu. Like
Yeah.
I believe I was listening to one of your videos today, and you were saying like you drafted a team around Urshifu because
Yeah.
you had first pick and you didn't know what to do, which that's scary. I have never had first pick, and I kind of don't want it.
I kind of want it.
That's because you get sniped immediately.
Yeah, I picked Mew, but we'll see how that turns out. Something we didn't really mention is Rabombi. I think Rabombi is very good, especially as a C tier. I think that's really cheap. Just for it has base 124 speed, it gets sticky webs, and it's a fairy type. So I mean, it gets a lot going for it. And yeah, I think it's gonna do a lot of work, especially with the shield
I like
dust.
Rabombi, but I like a better, uh, either
Defensive.
defensive fairy type or highly. No, actually, just like a better defensive fairy type.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of any good physical or offensive fairy. It would
Yeah.
just be comfy, and then it's comfy OP.
All right, I think we are ready to move on to the next one, and that would
Yep.
be the Portland Timbers. So the reason this is high, I think, is because obviously that main core I think is just disgusting. The Dragapult, Heatran, Togekiss. Who let this man do that? Who let this man draft that?
We did because we didn't take any of those picks before
Hey.
he could.
I'm not to blame for this, okay? But Swampert, Miltank, solid walls, very powerful. Heracross, I'm not as big of a fan of, but
Bug.
you don't like Bug?
I don't like bugs. Except for Centiskorch. Centiskorch is a really good mod.
Yeah, you don't have to put your phobias into Pokemon, okay?
Nah.
So
No,
they also
we
drafted Rotom.
But having Swampert and Miltank, like, very good. Swampert's only
Oh,
weak
yeah.
to being Freeze Dry and Grass type. Sap Sipper Miltank. Thick
Mhm.
Fat Miltank. Miltank don't care. It's here to protect its buddy Swampert.
And I think that love triangle in your top three, they cover each other very, very solidly with their resistances. Dragapult's weak to Dragon and Fairy.
Ice,
You got
Dark.
Heatran and Togekiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ice, Heatran. Dark, Togekiss. Heatran's weak to fighting. You got Dragapult and Togekiss. Heatran's weak to water. I mean, you got Dragapult, but you're probably going to go into something else. But still,
run
it could take it.
Togekiss and you call it a day. You go in there.
Yeah, so you've got a lot of good synergy with your top mons. I really like them. I don't really like Blossom. Don't really like Grapploct. But Rotom Frost, I mean, it has its uses. I like Rotom in general.
If
So
you run a defensive Rotom Frost, like, sure, that'd be fine. But I would not, like, want to rely on that Blizzard as your other stab mood.
But it's also a solid alternative defog user if you want to run an offensive Togekiss during the week or something. So
Yeah.
I mean, you have options, and I like them. Only thing I don't like is Heracross, but it's because I feel like Bug is just an underwhelming type unless it's Volcarona.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my opinion.
I mean, but granted, like, everything else looks really
Or
nice.
Scizor.
And probably Heracross does enough of what you wanted to do for
Yeah.
this thing.
Totally.
You just can't see it.
I think it fits. It fills in the types and stuff. Having a good offensive fighting type is great, and it's decently fast. But it's weak to a lot of types that are not good to be weak to, like flying especially. Flying and fire. I mean, you got Heatran for the fire, but you can't always rely on Heatran being alive, so.
Yep. Other
All
than
right.
that, you have a Miltank, so you're already, like, a top favorite.
Sheesh, yeah. Miltank's great. Definitely underrated. Alright, next up. The Malamarlins. Miami Malamarlins by Tone. Sheesh, man. This team, okay, so the top 6 on this team I think are really solid. The bottom 5, they're okay. I don't think that they're terrible. I really
Top
like.
6 is
Yeah, top 6 is nasty, but I think the top, like, he drafted a really solid um, bottom 5. I think that they look good. Like, the team he brought against you, I thought, even though, like, he brought a lot of these, like, he brought Rapidash and Lunatone, I think just the look of the team is great. I think it makes the team, like, there's not a Pokemon that you bring that looks weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And the Aegislash Clefable Garchomp core is great. Mandibuzz is also great just because, I mean, it's a great defensive wall that deals with that ground weakness for Aegislash. It deals with all of Aegislash's weaknesses, actually. So that's a good solid pickup. And Urshifu, you just really can't go wrong with it. It's the weaker one, but, I mean, it gives you an offensive physical water type, which is honestly not that common outside of, like, Azumarill or Crawdaunt or something like that. So I think it's really solid. And Roserade, I think definitely... It's a lot bulkier than people give it credit for, and it's a really solid grass poison type, which I think is a good combination that people like sleep on a little bit. It gets good status and offense as well. So, team looks really good.
Team was very scary to go up against.
Yeah.
Luckily, what my team looks like, he wasn't able to bring like one of the top tier mon that covers his top 3 mons cover each other very well. He wasn't able to bring it because of what my team looks like.
Yeah.
So that kind of just helped me out in the long run.
Yeah.
So.
But like I said, we're not analyzing based on the matchup.
No.
I think overall, most of the time, this team just bringing top 6 is going to be a solid bring, and it's going to do some work, honestly.
Yeah, I remember watching his draft analysis, and he said he wanted to bring Lunatone at least once, and I was like,
well,
okay, well, yeah. I was like, but man, you really don't need to. Your top 6 is great.
Yeah.
Like, sheesh. Granted, it's like you have Manabuzz and Clefable as your defensive mons, but don't sleep on Garchomp being defensive. Like that monster, Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin, eats physical attacks like no one, like nothing. Like,
yeah.
And you're doing damage back. It's like, and you can't knock off Rough Skin.
Yeah.
Gas, I guess, but like.
Yeah, but you're not going in on a Weezing that's going to die to an Earthquake, so we're good.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, next up is the Nashville Nido Kings. This is actually a replacement coach for Ballhawk, who was... it was something Woodhammers. Hinterland Woodhammers. So, I believe they didn't do any trades. This is just the team that Ballhawk drafted. But it is a really solid team. It's got that Sheer Force Landorus, which I think... I haven't seen in draft personally yet. So I'm excited to see how that works out. It's going to be very powerful, though. No question about it. Tapu Koko, Weavile, interesting options to go with it. I think he just has really solid top 5. Snorlax, definitely underrated. Tangela is really powerful as a defensive wall. And, yeah, I can't say much about these two, except my boy Cramorant is is just the best. I love Cramorant. Haven't had a chance to draft him yet, but Jigglypuff I think is it's already hard to bring Wigglytuff on a regular week, so I don't really see what Jigglypuff would do instead.
Alright, so my biggest thing is that your core synergy is very weird. Like, so your Dragon Steel Fairy type is very weird because you have Klefki, Coco, and then Grandpa. And then your water, grass, fire is Slowbro, Colossal, and Tangela.
Yeah, so that's the only core that I don't really see doing much. I think he has a lot of fighting weakness that needs to be mitigated, but you have Slowbro, and Tangela is going to be able to take those hits.
And Snorlax is there to just thick fatted up. It's like, but I wasn't sure if he was keeping this team, so I
well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. I guess after the first week, if there's going to be any trades. But he definitely he's got
he's played
interesting
with this
team
too. That's
well, he had to, yeah. He had to because he picked up the team in the middle of the week. But who knows? Maybe he'll get a trade after that. I think overall the team is strong.
Yeah, I think the Lando makes this team, like, even though I see problems with it and it's very weird to me, but the Lando sheer force just kind of brings it up.
Well, the thing that makes this team good is he also has a defensive regenerator core in Slowbro and Tangela.
Yeah.
And a
that's good point.
Snorlax. Slowbro, Snorlax both deal with Landorus' main weakness. And Tangela deals with the water weakness. So he has options to deal with the things that threaten his main threats, and his main threats are very, very fast in Landorus, Weavile, and Tapu Koko. So I think if he's able to pivot around enough to make his offensive Pokemon shine, because he has so many good bulky defensive Pokemon that synergize with them, that I think this is going to be a very solid team, very scary team to deal with.
I will say that a fighting type will run a train on this team.
Yeah, I already said that, but you thought I said fire for some reason, so.
I heard fire. Yeah.
Yeah, fighting type
That's why
is
I'm
the
like,
threat.
what?
No. Fighting.
Uh,
But like I said, your main two aren't even scared of fighting, so it's just the rest of the
not
team.
with that kind of attitude. Hit him harder.
You know what? Facts. All right, next up, the number 2 team.
Me.
No,
Oh.
definitely not you. Montreal Scroopies, and this was actually my week 1 opponent, and when I was fighting this, I was like, damn, this is a solid team. Really hard to get through this team. Hollowkid was telling me, like, for me to win that matchup, he had to mess up. Like, I had no way to win.
The way I looked at it was my week 1 was if I messed up. If I lost, it's because I messed up. For Makeda, the Scorpios had to mess up for him to win. And the only reason why I say that is because the top 4 is so good.
Yeah.
Like just the switch arounds they could do, the potential they could do with Cinderace, Libero. It's like, okay, everyone is scared. A lot of people are scared of Libero, Cinderace. I think is because they never got a chance to use them themselves and realized that Libero, Cinderace get 6 moves and that's it.
If he didn't bring one specific move, I had him. I'll say that.
Yes, but that's the thing. It's like you wouldn't really bring that move
normally
at all, but he knew.
He knew.
You had a Mew, so that's.
Hey, no
that's
spoilers.
the best way to
No
say it.
spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think this team is solid. Really hard to break if you don't have the right answers. Fortunately for him, he sniped that Sylveon right before I would have drafted it because I really wanted Sylveon, and that thing is a threat. I'll say that.
He's got a hard physical ball and a special physical ball, and that's all you need.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. I had a really hard time trying to exploit his weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's really
There's
tough.
a lot of practice battles where I just beat his ass, and Makeda here's like, "What do I do?" I'm like,
Take the L, bro.
On the controller.
But yeah, so that being said, I'm a good player. I mean, in my own right, and I feel like this is a solid team I couldn't break. So, honestly, a great team. I have no complaints about it, honestly. Except you stole Sylveon. Fuck you.
Yeah. Sylveon's really good. Tangrowth is really good.
Yeah, but all respect, you played well, and it was a great. You drafted a great team, so.
Yeah, this team. Like people were saying, like, oh, you don't have a good offense or a defensive steel type. Neither does he. And
oh yeah, I
he
probably
doesn't
should
need
scroll and show these. He's got Delibird and Rufflet as well.
This is my number 1 complaint
Yeah,
about this team.
that's
that
the
his
complaint.
flying type is shit.
Both of them.
Yeah, both his flying types are F tiers.
But you know what? He
And
made it work anyway.
He made it work, but I feel like that's gonna be more of a.
Well, the thing about flying is that you want them to stop those ground types, but he's got Tangrowth. Tangrowth doesn't give a shit about ground types.
Yep.
He eats them for breakfast, bro. So,
This is true.
moving on to the number 1 team of the 2 divisions.
He's also got Cinderace
yeah,
with bounce.
Cinderace. Yeah. So, number 1 team, Blue carries Cerulean City Mewtwo. This team is just nuts, and the reason why is he stole half my team from last season. And by that I mean he took 2 Pokemon, which are Porygon 2 and Moltres.
This man took a little of the best of every mon, okay? He took my Azumarill. He took Patmax Pangoro. He took your Porygon 2 and your Moltres, which was my Moltres.
Nah, but you could have
no,
it.
like, you don't have enough badges. Yeah, I think they accidentally put Moltres in C tier, aka I think he rigged the draft system so he could get Moltres.
Because he drafted it early.
He picked it up round 2, and I'm like, this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But I think he also got sniped with the Zimro. I think the Zimro was just a typing pick over a synergy pick. So.
Yeah, but that being said, it still fits the team really well. I think the problem this team has is fighting types, but you got that Moltres and you got that Latios to help mitigate that. Yeah, the Gourgai Steven.
Don't care anyway.
Porygon doesn't care at all. I love Porygon so much. And you know what? You have that Gigalith, but honestly, I don't even think you need it for the Excadrill. Excadrill's just solid on its own on this team specifically. It's a great spinner, great mold breaker. You could scarf it, whatever, but I mean, if you bring Gigalith, you don't have to. So, I mean, it gives you nice offensive, flexible options for that Excadrill. But I just think the team is solid. I have no complaints.
Team's really solid. I see it being like really fast and probably hard to control at the same time. Pangoro is really a slept-on mon.
Definitely.
It being a C tier, I think even after like the league, like Pat Mac showing the league how like strong Pangoro was, I think they should probably moved it up.
We call him Budget Urshifu.
Yeah, and well, Scrappy is just really good.
Yeah.
Mold Breaker is really good. Iron Fist is really good. It's
still Budget Urshifu.
It's still budget. But the fact is that it can drain punch a ghost type. Like, that's huge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's his ghost resist, and he's gonna beat its ass.
Yeah, with his fists too.
Yeah. So this team still looks very good. I think the number one thing I kind of don't want to say anything about this thing because I legitimately have to go up against this team.
You don't want to give him any...
I don't want to give anything away that I could see clearly. But I don't think we have to worry about it. But, like, and I think he took one of the others. His Freeze Dry will hurt his top 3 really bad.
Freeze Dry is just disgusting in general.
Yeah, Freeze Dry is disgusting in general.
I think Porygon 2 is a great pick because even though it's weak to fighting and that's a duplicate weakness for a lot of your mons, I don't think that it'll die to most fighting attacks in one hit. And it can do all kinds of things back. Like, I just ran Trick Room some weeks just because it was just perfect to, like, counteract really fast teams, you know? And I don't see that working too well with your team specifically because you have a lot of fast things that don't want to be slowed down. But the option is there. Yeah, speed boost too.
Speed is going to be annoying.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually poison fighting, not bug poison.
Poison fighting? What?
Yeah.
It's a centipede.
Man, I told you, I just click buttons.
Okay, buddy. Well, anyways, that's the teams. I think there was a pretty close between the Scorpies and this team because I think the Scorpies team is just so solid. But I think I really like how fucking bulky this team is and how much damage it can dish out. That's my kind of team, though. Bulky offense is my team. So, like, I really like this team, and he took Porygon 2, and you really can't go wrong. I think Porygon 2 is probably one of the most hated Pokemon in Draft League because of how bulky it is. It's just so strong, and I love it.
All 3 abilities are useful. It can teleport, it can recover.
Yeah,
it can
teleport.
Set up, it can do whatever you want.
Status. It can freeze a Sigilith.
What's a Sigilith?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
It can freeze a Sigilith. No PTSD for for a badass Frostlass, please. But yeah, it's just a great mod. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed our criticism of your teams, and you all suck, and we will beat you.
Yeah.
And this is coming from Hollowkid, not from Makeda.
I can stand by those words. I'll beat the fuck out of you.
All right. Well, we're jinxing it for ourselves.
Yep.
But good luck. Honestly, I think you got a lot of great teams. A lot of great teams this season, though.
I will definitely like Carrie to prove us wrong. I want you to lose every single match that you go up against.
Damn.
You definitely have like one of the worst teams out there.
I forgot to say we did it in reverse order. This is actually the worst team. That's why we were in the first. That's why we were in the front of the video.
I wasn't like. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think
it's definitely gonna be interesting. We definitely missed a lot. I could probably tell you that, but that's also like because the competition has started, and we don't want to give away people's like strategies and how they won.
And we listed this weeks ago.
Yeah, we did actually make the list like weeks ago, but we saw that someone else was gonna do it,
Yeah.
And they didn't do it to our liking, so we said, "Fuck it, let's step in."
And so we low key
You guys didn't talk
forgot.
enough shit.
We low key
gonna-
forgot everything that we criticized about the teams, so we just kind of wung it
100%.
today. But
We're winging this.
we forgot everything.
We're
But-
here to talk shit and then get hit. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was still
that's it.
fun. It's still a fun video to record. I think it's always fun to look at these teams and see what we could potentially do to them in our matches versus them, as well as giving people insight that they might not realize. You know, but I think it's all pretty
Magneton,
straightforward.
It's always fun to just pretend to be your friend for 30 minutes.
Dang, you know I'm pretending. Dang, this is awkward. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you hopefully later in the season.
Don't
So,
forget to
thanks.
like and subscribe, please. It would be helpful. All the links there will be for all the competitors
Gotchas.
will be down below.
Yep. So thanks for watching.
Goodbye.